tonight is Joanne Shearer-Parkin. She is a registered dietitian and master level dietitian and nutritionist of 40 plus years. So her career is very diverse, anything from womb to tomb, as we're told, working in military settings and everything in between. And she will be the one really sharing her wealth of knowledge. She has been an expert, and she has been a mentor of mine for 8 years, like I shared with the live group here. Can you say it? Can you make a noise? There's a live audience here. So we are recorded for educational purposes only. And I am thrilled to bring Joanne here to kind of help to debunk the whole COVID white elephant in the room, or whatever you said they call it now. Because there's so much weight loss going on surrounding the whole special time in our life. Many people struggle with weight gain, and so we are going to talk about how to make it different, how to make it better, and how to make it stick. So Joanne, welcome. And I will be the behind the scenes tech helping you to potentially see. You probably can't see much, but maybe.
So you probably can't see me, but you can hear me, and you'll be able to see the slides, and I can step in front periodically, so you know that I'm still here. So hi everybody, welcome. I hope you can see the slides. I think there's a lot of pretty much backlit. I don't know, we have a different angle, might work a little better. I don't know. So you want to try a little angle. You move it over to that, not so close. Move it back.
I am not a technician.
Let's move it back.
Quincy is very skilled. Is it better? You can see Joanne.
It looks good. It looks fine. It looks fine.
You look great.
Thank you. Okay, so tonight, I'm of course thank you for that wonderful introduction. And one thing I want to mention too, with all of my years of being in my profession of nutrition and dietetics, I literally have counseled probably thousands of people on weight management. I was a certified diabetes educator for 15 years. Part of that 45 plus years that I've been working. And so, of course, I also had an opportunity there too as well, help people with managing their weight, which really is, it's really kind of a lifetime struggle for a lot of people. And so I learned, I will share tonight is just really what I've learned over all these years, from my years of reading the literature, the research, just kind of my conclusions and what I think, how I can really help. So let's get started. As you can see, there's a lot of topics that we've talked about tonight: mindset, sustainable lifestyle versus short-term diet pitfalls, how to turn your body into a fat-burning machine, how to target the toxic belly fat, gut health as a new weight management tool. How about intermittent fasting, best diet for successful, sustainable weight management, and supplements that support your health and gut. Okay. That's a lot, right? I think that's like about a 3 to 5 hour, all day program even. So let's talk first about, we got time. We got time. Let's see if I can do this in 45 minutes. So I'm going to talk about diet mindset versus the intuitive mindset. And I think in life, pretty much mindset is everything. Another concept with mindset is to change your life, you need to change habits. That's another concept with mindset. When I talk about diet mindset versus an intuitive mindset, and this is something I have learned over the years, is that many times people think, I have so much weight to lose, I'm going to go on a diet. And many times the mindset with the diet is, I'll go on the diet to lose the weight, but then the maintenance part is a struggle. People, no matter what program, pretty much that people follow, and their research has shown this. There's just literally, oh my gosh, there must be hundreds of programs out there. Various fitness centers, weight loss centers. There's online programs. There's the shakes that you drink all day long, and bars. And, there's just so many out there. So it really, what they've shown in the research is that no matter what the program is, as long as people are very intentional and they're on the program, they're successful. But it's when it's in that maintenance phase, when they get off the program, that is the struggle. The struggle is in then maintaining the weight. And so what I tell people, and this is a really kind of part of that mindset, is that whatever you decide to do in terms of your fitness and your nutrition program, whatever that is, think about, you have to stop and think and really mentally make this decision. Is this something I can really sustain in the long term? So you heard me talk about sustainability. What are the behaviors and the habits and the changes I can make that I can sustain in the long term? And so that I think that's really going to really carry you through or helping you in the long term with your weight management. So the diet mindset versus intuitive. So what does intuitive mindset say? We give you just some examples. The diet mindset says, can I have this? An intuitive mindset would say, do I want this? The diet mindset says, how do I look? The intuitive mindset says, how do I feel? The diet mindset says, how much food do I get today? The intuitive mindset says, how much food do I really need today? The diet mindset says, will this make me sleep? The intuitive mindset says, will this nourish me? The diet mindset says, I exercise so I can eat. The intuitive mindset says, I eat so I can exercise. The diet mindset says, I can eat whatever I want on my cheat days. The intuitive mindset says, I can eat whatever I want anytime, any day. I love that. The diet mindset says, food is my worst enemy and my favorite reward. Or you say with the intuitive mindset, you say, food is just food. Okay, so it's really a different way of looking at food in general. So I was one of those people in my early years as a dietitian that I got caught up in the diet mindset myself because I thought at 113 pounds and day 411 that I was overweight. But I'm just kind of a little stocky, short farm girl, from North Dakota. Wasn't really overweight, but I had a little distorted body image maybe. So I got into this diet mindset, right? And kind of did a little bit like lost a few pounds, gained them back. I got into the yo-yo diet, really easy to do. Oh my pants fit a little tight, I gotta go on a diet. I got into that. It was when I started developing the intuitive mindset that everything changed. When I decided that I was going to think about food as nutrition and nourishing my body. So when I would look at a donut, would think that is, I would think about, I'm going to eat that, it's going to go in my body, it's going to start causing inflammation. It's going to start spiking my blood sugars, my insulin level. So I would just kind of mentally look at that food and say, oh, yuck. No, I don't really want that because I'm thinking about all the things that's doing metabolic in my body that's going to make me not feel well. And so I would look at food and started choosing food according to how it would nourish me and how it would provide nutrients and nutrition. And I stopped eating the processed food because it's, the whiter the bread, the sooner you're dead. I got that on my brain. Seriously, I look at bread, I go, refined, the whiter the bread, I think, no way, I want to live up. So I really had psychologically with my mindset start changing how I looked at food. And it's helped me in the long term with my weight. And I've not really I've been now, I've been at that weight for a lot of years. I've really not struggled with my weight. So that's kind of my number one tip to start out with. The other thing that you can do to really help with maintaining your weight and losing the weight and keeping it off for a lifetime is to understand this concept of where, your calorie intake and really where where does that food go? How does that energy go? Where does that energy go when you're eating, right? Where does all that calories go? Because we're also focused on counting the calories. Well, I want to talk about the importance of building to focus more not on calories, but looking at thinking about building muscles, and think about how you're going to also eat, not only to nourish your body, but also how you're going to eat to maintain your lean body mass, and what you're going to do in terms of your fitness to complement that. Let's talk about your daily calorie requirements, right? They're divided into these three components. Resting energy, what we call the basal metabolic rate. That's determined, that's the amount of calories that your body needs at rest. That's your basic metabolic rate. It's also called the resting energy expenditure. There's some of the calories, about a certain percentage, go to thermogenesis. That's when you digest food. Do you realize it actually takes energy to burn food? Your body takes a little energy. And whoa, physical activity, right? So which of those three do you think requires the most calories? Which of those compartments do you think consumes energy? Huh? No. Your basal metabolic rate. Oh. You're at rest. Very good, Emily. Emily gave us the right answer. Yes. It is your resting energy expenditure. And that, of all your daily caloric intake, 60 to 75% is consumed just sitting at rest, right? That's not counting any expenditures. About 5 to 10% is actually goes to digestion of food. They're just, but you need the requirements of burning energy. And then the rest is for physical activity. So actually 28% maybe the most is from physical activity. And the determination, and you already said it's between 60 to 75% determines your resting energy expenditure. Whether it's 60% or 75% depends on how much muscles you have. How much of your body weight, if you're at 160 pounds, how much of that is muscle versus fat? Because muscles are more biologically active. They're moving, they're working, your heart's pumping, that's a muscle. Okay, so all of that muscle mass, just even at rest, is burning a lot more calories than fat. That's like a big old blob, it just sits there, it's not biologically active, it's not moving. It's just sitting there. And fat, muscles are more dense than fat, okay? So somebody can be 160 pounds and look extremely lean and look great. And you could have another person at 160 pounds and they look overweight. What's the difference? It's the difference between how much of that 160 pounds is muscle mass and what percent is fat. So what's the goal? If you really want to lose the weight, keep it off in the long term, this is it. You want to keep the lean, lose the fat, right? Okay, that's another really key concept. Then it's not only where you carry your weight that's important, it's where you lose the weight. Not only how much you weigh, but where do you carry that weight? And the weight that's very dangerous to your health, and I think really get into your mind, and that's another mindset concept, and I've talked about it with the more questions I asked, the mindset of health and wellness and fitness, not so much about what the scales might say, or I want to get into this size, but I want to get fit, I want to be healthy, I want to feel well, I want to have energy. So you think about that. The other thing too is you want to reduce your risk of chronic disease. And so where you carry your weight is critically important in terms of your chronic disease. And it is this belly fat that is a toxic, dangerous fat. Okay, so when I was at the other heart hospital, the heart specialty hospital in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, one thing that we really coached and mentored our patients about was the metabolic syndrome. And the metabolic syndrome is when people tend to accumulate a lot of extra fat in the belly, in the belly fat. That significantly increases a person's risk of heart disease. In fact, the waist circumference is something that we started measuring when we had people come into our clinic, and we would talk to them about, their risk of heart disease, and we'd say, well, what's your waist circumference? We didn't even look at what the scale said. We said, we want you to have your men less than 40 inches and women less than 35 inches. So thankfully in my family, we seem to be, and being farm people, we seem to carry our weight more. We have more of this pear shape, you know, like carry the weight more lower body. But some people are more genetically prone to that apple shape where they deposit weight here. It's insulin resistance, it's called, and it is a really a dangerous place to carry the weight. Increases your risk of heart disease, diabetes, and other chronic diseases. So this is where you really want to target weight. I have some suggestions on what you can do for that in terms of losing the belly fat. Important to really target that. So one of the other important emerging concepts in weight management, and we talked about this a little bit last week. Was it just last week? I was talking about the gut. Okay. Yes, is the relationship between the healthy gut, or we call the microbiome, between your healthy microbiome and weight management. This is an emerging concept in weight management. So let's talk a little bit about what is the microbiome. The microbiome is your gut microflora, some of the bacteria, the viruses, and all the yeast, everything that resides within your gut. You have more DNA in your gut than the rest of your body. And we also have probiotic bacteria that live in our gut. We can also take probiotics in pills. These are live microorganisms that can give in adequate amounts to provide a health benefit. And then we have prebiotics, which we can take in food as well as in supplements. And that's the food source for your healthy gut bacteria. So this is what we're learning about the microbiome. There are certain specific strains of healthy gut bacteria that provide a distinct health benefit. And this is an example of a study that was done where you have they had two groups of mice. They had the control group that was fed the control child on this left-hand side. That's on your screen that I did around. Then you have the control group that was on the control child, plus they were fed in their chow. They received a type of specific strain of a lactobacillus bacteria called Lactobacillus reuteri. And as you can see, the mice that were fed this particular bacteria were leaner, right? But then look what happened when they almost like doubled up their calories, right? Fed them a fast food chow. Look what happened. The fast food chow, the mice with the fast food chow with the L. reuteri stayed lean. The ones that did not have the Lactobacillus reuteri, they got obese. Interesting to show where the research is going and looking at the gut microbiome. So someday you might actually be able to buy this L. reuteri in a specific probiotic form, and it will help you with maintaining and helping you with your weight. Interesting. So why is that? What is it? Why would that work? So how you can get hunger control with both probiotics and prebiotics, and this is how. Remember, the probiotics are the healthy gut bacteria. You take them in pills, you get them in fermented foods, right? Probiotics. The prebiotics are the non-digestible fibers that feed the probiotics. Look at it this way. So the probiotics are like the seeds in your garden, right? And the prebiotics are like the food, right? So that's the concept. So what happens when you take this combination of probiotics and prebiotics together? What happens? That's going to feed your gut bacteria. So the prebiotics, they're going to feed and help the probiotics multiply and produce, more healthy gut bacteria. Those gut bacteria are going to feed on the fibers, and they will produce something called short-chain fatty acids. This is fuel for your gut. It makes your gut happy. It helps your gut to stay healthy. Short-chain fatty acids. And also, when this happens, you get this process with the prebiotics feeding the probiotics. That also produces then compounds that lower the gut inflammation. Also, you get the production of different hormones, anti-hunger hormones. You get the production of anti-hunger hormones that help with feeling full and what we call satiety. Leptin is probably the most famous of all those hunger hormones. So when you're getting those healthy gut bacteria way down to your intestinal tract, what's going to happen is you're going to get some leptin and the satiety hormone. It acts on the brain, and this is the gut-brain connection, the gut-brain axis when it comes to weight management and appetite control. So you get this anti-hunger hormone, and it actually helps you with weight management. Interesting, like stress decreases your leptin. So when you're under a severe amount of stress, that's why people say that they gain, a lot of people say they gain weight when they're stressed out. Not only because of cortisol, because cortisol is a stress hormone that will help you deposit fat, but also the effects that stress has on your gut. Also what can happen too is that you also get a decrease of a hunger hormone called ghrelin. And how to decrease this pro-hunger hormone is to eat a higher fiber, high protein diet. Higher fiber, high protein diet to decrease the hunger hormone. The other thing too that happens in the gut is that you have these intestinal peptides that slows down the emptying of the stomach, and that is secreted by the L cells of the gut. I'm going to talk more about the L cells of the gut and the role that they have in your appetite control. So are you kind of getting the idea here that the gut plays a huge role in weight management? So, so how do you feed and fuel your gut so you're going to get the right kind of bacteria in the gut, right? So it can help you with producing those anti-hunger hormones and help you with managing the weight. Here's the keys. A nutrient-dense diet, high in fiber, a high fiber diversity diet with a lot of different fibers. Protein is important. Make sure you're getting adequate protein. A sustainable diet. Healthy fats are critical. For example, like extra virgin olive oil has additional nutrients and flavonoids and other compounds, which also are good for your gut. You know, the no-nos. No refined carbs and no artificial sweeteners. Okay, that's the no-nos. So that's on the gut. So how about fasting? How many of you have heard or read something about fasting lately? Oh, it's all over the place, right? About the role of fasting for weight management. And there's different, I would say there's different types of fasting. You know, we have time-restricted fasting. You'll eat during 8 hours. Eat, stop, eat, which means that you eat one day and you stop eating the next and you fast like a couple days a week. And there's just a 5-2 diet where 5 days a week you eat whichever you want, and then on 2 days a week you eat like semi-starvation, which is almost like fasting. So there's different types of fasting, but the one that I highly recommend is a time-restricted fast of 13 to 14 hours, which you do overnight. The reason for that is because when you do that type of fasting, that works with your circadian rhythms. It means eating your evening meal early and having a lighter evening meal at night, and then not eating until and delay that for 13 to 14 hours. Research out of Southern California has shown that in working with a very large population of women that have breast cancer, so these are breast cancer survivors, they found that women that practice time-restricted fasting of 13 hours or more had a significant reduction of their recurrence of their breast cancer. Okay, so it seems like that window of 13 to 14 hours and an overnight fast is really probably the best, right? I can tell you, I worked with veterans for 9 years in the Veterans Hospital. And these poor veterans, you know, they come in, most of them were bachelors, single guys, you know, struggling to try to, you know, just survive. A lot of these were Vietnamese veterans. Many of them were dealing with a lot of not only just medical issues, but mental health issues as well, and struggling. And it was almost, I always would take these diet histories and okay, Joe, tell me, hey, what do you eat typically in a day? Like, what's the first thing you eat when you get up in the morning? So first of all, they tell me, I don't know why I'm fat. I just don't eat that much. So then I'd say, well, hey, Joe, I don't know, I can't figure it out. I just don't eat that much. I'd say, well, hey, Joe, what do you eat when you get up in the morning? What's the first thing you eat? Well, I'm not big on breakfast. I just usually have some black coffee. Well, what about lunch? Do you eat something? What's the next time you eat? Oh, yeah, lunch. No, I don't know. Sometimes I just don't really care for lunch. Maybe I might grab a sandwich or maybe something. So not much at lunch. And then he says, well, then I have, then I go down to the local restaurant and loads up on whatever. And then they go home at night and they'll say, I say, well, do you have a snack? Yeah, I have a snack. Oh, ice cream. I said, well, okay, so what would the portion size of your ice cream be? So I'll pull out my little bowls and say, would it be this much? Or would it be this much? Oh, they'd say, gee, I don't know. I just get a spoon and I get the container and I just eat ice cream. I have a snack, I eat ice cream. So these poor guys, they were totally not practicing, they were practicing the wrong kind of intermittent fasting. They were not eating during the day, then eating when their circadian rhythms in their body, biologically, their clocks would say, don't eat, don't eat. So their biological clocks would say, don't eat me, don't feed me, but they were feeding their bodies. Okay, do you understand that concept? Don't eat after 6 o'clock. And don't eat when you first get up in the morning, delay it. Don't do that. Oh, so besides weight management, fasting has other health benefits. And by the way, the time restricted, the overnight fasting, that's something that my husband and I practice pretty consistently. We try to do this at least 5 days a week. We don't do it every day. It depends on, what we have going on. So you can see there's a lot of health benefits. Also activates your too, and I'm going to talk about that as we go on. So this is the question I get. What is the best diet for weight management? Well, when you're looking at long-term, and like I said, if you're really looking at your health and your overall wellness and nutrition and feeding your body the right kind of food, I'm a big advocate of the Mediterranean diet. And so what's in the Mediterranean diet? A lot of fish. I've traveled the Mediterranean world, and I can tell you, they eat fish every meal, pretty much. That's a lot of fish. Olive oil, in fact, 40% of the calories in the Mediterranean diet is from fat. And most of it's from olive oil. Lots and lots of vegetables in the Mediterranean diet, greens particularly, lots of tomatoes, tomato sauce, fresh fruits, parsley and spices, moderate amounts of yogurt and cheese. Lentils and dried beans are really common in all the Mediterranean countries around the Mediterranean. And red wine with meals. Now, you don't see bread and pasta, because that's one thing that is interesting. When I travel Mediterranean, we think of Mediterranean, a lot of people think Mediterranean, and they think black. Oh, I think of, Italian, think of big, that's American Mediterranean, big plates of pasta. Yeah, pizza, that's another, it's not that common. No, Italy, if you go to Italy, you'll find pizza, but it's more about fish and spices and lentils and fish and vegetables and lentils and beans and cheeses and all of that. It's more of these foods than it is. And this is very typical, like they'll serve you a whole fish at your table. I mean, honestly, it's crazy. So not a lot, not that much. Yes, they have the breads, pastas, but it's more about vegetables and other foods. So what about supplements? Let's talk about that, because there's over the years, there have been so many programs out there where you go to the program, you drink shakes, you take their vitamins, you take their diet products, and people have great success, because for the most part, people are very successful. A lot of it's because of the fact they're eating a very low calorie diet. And a lot of these programs only allow 800 to 1200 calories a day. Now, the problem with that and such a highly severely restricted calorie intake is the fact that, number one, you're probably going to be losing lean body mass. your muscles. It's not going to be all fat. You can offset that significantly if you're very, very diligent about fitness. Because if you're going to decide that you are going to go on that fairly restricted diet, a low-calorie diet, you absolutely must engage in regular fitness. And I believe you need to be engaging in 30 minutes to an hour a day. Seriously. And I have a fitness expert here, and she's nodding her head. If you want to preserve your lean body mass, why do you want to preserve your lean body mass? Because what's that going to do? It's going to help you maintain the weight. Not necessarily going to help you lose weight faster, but because you're going to, yes, you're going to be burning some extra calories, but it's going to help you in the long term so that you're not losing muscle mass and burning that for energy, because that's what your body's going to do. So remember that you have to have some daily fitness and the engagement and activity. And so the company I'm with, Wheight, has a weight management system, a system of 3 products that is going to help you to support your weight management efforts so that you're going to be able to preserve your lean body mass, lose the toxic belly fat, and to help to support your healthy gut. These products are not standalone weight program. Like you go to a center and you drink their shakes and that's you eat their bars and that's what you do. Or you go like to Nutrisystem and you just eat their food. This is a different concept. We're just going to enhance your diet and exercise program so you can lose the right kind of weight so you can keep it off for the long term. This is what we're concerned about. We're concerned more about your health and keeping off the weight in the long term. So what are the products in the system? First one is the probiotic, which is the healthy gut bacteria, and in a pill form. And what's very unique about this probiotic is that it has a special technology built into the pill called BioTrack. BioTrack is going to help the probiotics survive the stomach acid. With the BioTrack, 60% of those probiotic bacteria will survive. Without the BioTrack, you're only going to get 4% survival. Those probiotic bacteria are fragile little guys. You know, they're destroyed easily, heat and light, and especially the stomach acid. So that's what's very unique about this. Even if you have a probiotic that you buy out of the refrigerator, even with that, by the time it gets to your stomach, you're going to lose it. You're going to lose it. You're going to lose most of it. So that's one thing. It has BioTrack. And the other thing that this probiotic has is something called Wellmune, which Wellmune is something called a beta-glucan. This is a patented product. Our company, Vikings, did not develop Wellmune. It's another biotech company that spent $300 million developing this ingredient. And there's research at wellmune.com showing that it helps to prevent, and it helps actually to prime your immune system. So that is 80%, 70-80% of your immunity is in your gut, right? So this again is about your overall health and wellness. 70-80% of your immunity in your gut. And so Wellmune is going to help improve your immune system. So it's going to enhance it significantly. All you do is go to wellmune.com. You'll find that this ingredient, has patented ingredient, has research showing that it can help with preventing colds, flus, and infections. Okay? So that's just an added ingredient in this probiotic. The prebiotic, remember what I say about prebiotics? What do they do? That's the fertilizer for the probiotics, right, in the gut. Prebiotics are non-digestible fibers, and there's 4 different prebiotic fibers in this container. It's a powder, and you mix it with water. Take it any time of the day. And there are 3 L-amino acids. What did I say? Remember? What did I say about the L-amino acids? The L cells in your gut. Remember? L cells? L cells delay gastric emptying. So you feel fuller, longer. So these L-amino acids connect and attach with the L cells in your gut, delay gastric emptying. And they also help to produce anti-hunger hormones. So again, it's a simple concept. Get your gut healthy, feed your microbiome with this probiotic, plus you have the added amino acids, which are totally safe and benign, right? And those also will help with appetite and hunger control. You feel not satisfied on less food. So you go out and you can eat a wide variety of healthy, nutritious foods, and you will naturally adjust, and appetite control will come from the gut and will come to the brain, and that will help significantly, right? Take 30 minutes before your largest meal in the day. The last of the products in that system is the fat burn sidetrack. Okay, so fat burn products I have seen, oh my gosh, over 40, 45 years. I can't tell you how many of these I've seen, right? So when our company came out with fat burn, I'm like, oh no, no. But most of those other products were thermogenic, they had side effects, they could cause heart problems. I mean, there's all kinds of issues with some of those fat burn products. This one is absolutely completely safe because it comes from a patented blend of citrus extracts. So these are citrus extracts from the Mediterranean. And it has an added little bit of a coffee bean extract that works synergistically with it. And we have about 8 different scientific placebo-controlled trials showing that it significantly can help to reduce abdominal fat. That targets the belly fat. That's what this fat burn does. It's designed to help with reducing your hip and waist circumference, and it is scientifically validated to increase the release of the free fatty acids to be burned for energy in a very natural process. So that's the fat burn. People who absolutely love that product. This one, the Physique Whey protein, that is in our Physique Weight Management System. Yes, it's protein from happy cows from Minnesota. That have not been fed any hormones, antibiotics, and free of all of those anything that might be harmful or toxic. So very wholesome, clean product. Whey protein is a byproduct of cheese making, has the highest biological value of any protein, which means it also has branched chain amino acids. It's the one protein source that's going to help you to build muscles better than any other protein source. I recommend 2 servings a day, 36 grams, to help you to preserve your lean body mass. I have a shake just about every day before I go play pickleball. So right before exercise, and I'm going to be working and building my lean body mass when I exercise, right? Some other benefits of whey protein, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but I think the other thing too is it can help boost your immune system, because whey protein concentrate has immunoglobulins, which is going to help boost your immune system as well. So that's another thing. We need to be concerned when we look at anything with our weight management. Is it going to help improve my overall health and wellness? Is it going to help with my immune system? If you starve yourself, that's not going to be good in the long term for your immune system. But let's feed your gut. Let's feed your body. Let's feed your body with good nutrition, because if you're getting nutrients, I really believe what happened with me was when I started focusing on a very high quality, nutrient-dense diet, I stopped craving a lot of different foods. So that's what I believe is it'll help with your food cravings. Okay, why not soy? I just have to so whey is way better than soy. Okay, so because if you go and join some of the weight loss centers and they'll give you shakes and bars, and if you look at the label, you'll see a lot of those products contain soy protein isolate. Well, the soy protein isolate is an extremely inexpensive source of protein from soy. But there's a little problem with soy, because soy protein isolate, it's highly processed. You don't have any cofactor nutrients. And it can have antithyroid effects. I don't really recommend much as far as soy protein isolate, limited, maybe a serving a day, but not to have 2 or 3 shakes and 3 bars on top of it, right? And you know, the whole soy foods are fine, like tofu, edamame, tempeh, because you are getting a whole food with cofactor nutrients. You're not going to have this kind of concentrate of an estrogen effect. And whey protein is not just for bodybuilders. I already talked about this in my last presentation, that I highly recommend whey protein for older adults to help them to maintain their lean body mass, because actually by middle age, you start losing 3% of your lean body mass actually per decade after that, so 3 to 5%. So you really want to boost up your protein intake. Older adults tend to be low on the protein scale. So whey protein has been studied extensively in older adults to help present the dwindles, which I call sarcopenia, the loss of lean body mass. So it's very, very good for grandma as well as the bodybuilders, right? So whey protein, we all usually think of, you see those big canisters of the whey protein with bodybuilder on there, right? You don't think of grandma when you think of whey protein, right? You think of the bodybuilders. Okay, so another thing about the whey protein shake from Life is it's very pure, very wholesome. So it doesn't have any artificial sweeteners. It's sweetened with stevia, no artificial colors or flavors, right? So the physique whey protein is a very clean, wholesome product. So that's my husband Jim down there reading the labels.
Oh.
So we just came from pickleball and his pickleball office. So we went to down to the local grocery store. They had this huge aisle of all these protein shakes, right? So we went and we read the labels. So we were looking for whey protein concentrate, shakes made from whey protein concentrate. And then we were looking for artificial colors and sweeteners and all these artificial ingredients, right? So we only found 1 out of 8 products that matched the wholesomeness of physique. All 7 of them have some of these artificial ingredients in them, right? So again, when you're thinking about with weight management, you're thinking about nutrition and health and wholesomeness, right? I don't know if I'm going to spend much time on this other than to talk a little bit about with weight, with being overweight, and you're carrying extra weight. When you're overweight and obese, this increases inflammation and oxidative stress in your body. We know that with COVID, that people who are overweight are having a more severe illness with COVID. And they said it's related to the fact that because of being overweight, that increases your oxidative stress and your inflammation. Now, protandim nerve 2 is scientifically validated to lower both oxidative stress and inflammation. And so it's just a little yellow pill, 1 a day. That's a great complement to your weight management program, right? Add that in to help support that and lower that oxidative stress. We have protandim nerve 1, which helps with boosting your energy and your mitochondria. It's another good complementary product that you can add. If you are noticing that you're really short on energy and you want to boost up your energy, the nerve 1 can help with that. We also have a high quality omega-3 product for vitamin D. These products are in a package called the 4 Vitality Set. Another great complementary product that I drink just about every day, especially when I'm on the pickleball court, and I like to drink Axio. Add some coconut water to it to give me some electrolytes. But Axio is a brain performance drink that helps with focus, memory, concentration, can help with mood, mental alertness. Great, great drink. We've seen it help children in school with concentration and school performance. Brains are going to be working better. It's a wonderful drink, especially when you start sensing that kind of fatigue, exhaustion in your brain can really, really help with that. Because so much of the time with weight management, it's such a mental thing, right? It truly is. And it's just, it can, you get into that stressful times and stress eating. Really, Axio really can help you with that. So we've talked about the smart way to manage your weight, talking about nutrition, talking about lean body mass, by the way, in that another important concept with really managing and maintaining your lean body mass is to make sure you're getting adequate protein in each meal. So I talked about the whey protein shake as being can really help with that, because you should be consuming about 25 to 30 grams of protein at every meal. Men need probably more than that. So for women, I would say 25 to 30, men maybe up to 40 to 50 grams at a meal, depending on how much lean body mass, how much that they would need to maintain that per meal. Yeah, 25 to 30 for women. I generally think about 20, 25 grams per meal of food. Yeah. Probably where people really don't get that amount is at breakfast. A lot of people are just eating a piece of toast and about it, and they're not getting enough protein. Because with protein, you have to understand that your body is only going to utilize so much of the time. So you might think, rather than into spacing out your protein over 3 meals a day. Because if you eat, like 80 grams, let's say you're just kind of like eating one meal a day, you're going to get all that, try to squeeze it all in one meal. Well, you're only going to utilize 25 grams of the 80 anyway. The rest is going to be used for energy. So you're only going to be able to utilize so much protein and utilize in terms of building muscle, right? You're going to only be able to use so much at a time. So that's important. So we talked about the importance of targeting the toxic belly fat, the fat burn product for that. On the diet, the way to really target that too is to totally wipe out and eliminate any processed refined carbohydrates. If it's, like I said, the whiter the bread, the sooner you're dead. So just remember that, right? So you're going to really start to eliminate those, and you're just going to focus on those carbohydrates that are extremely high fiber nutrients. So you're going to try to preserve your lean body mass. We talked about that. You're going to protect your microflora in your gut, your microbiome, with probiotics and prebiotics, and with your high fiber diet. Probio is also going to help with your immune system. You have low mood and energy. Axial nerve one can help with that. And mental stress. Axial can help. Oxidative stress, cellular stress, that's determinant. So just kind of give you an idea how this all fits together. So let's wind down, and I don't know how much time I've been taking here, but probably too long. How am I doing here? Okay. I'm just checking it out. You're good. I'm good. Okay. So I've kind of bounced around a lot of different topics tonight, but I think number one is to change your mindset, understand that sustainability needs to be the word of the day, new day, when it comes to weight management. Sustainability. Really focus on what is it that I can do today, that I can do next tomorrow, I can do next month, next year. What can I do to sustain this? What kind of healthy habits can I develop that I can continue to do? And what can I do to incorporate that into my lifestyle? You want to focus on your insides and your outsides, maximize your gut health, maintain your lean body mass, which is your calorie burning machinery. And biologically active muscles. That's the key. You want to activate your body to fight itself or lower inflammation. So the other thing you want to concentrate on is just that process. But what can you do for overall health, lowering inflammation, lowering that oxidative stress? By the way, the Mediterranean diet is really great at doing that perfectly as well. So that's it. So I think give intermittent fasting a try, see if it's for you. Plan your meals and be intentional. That's another thing too, be very intentional. I remember my daughter recently just lost 45 pounds, and that's one word she used. She said, "Mom, I'm intentional about everything. I'm intentional. I plan out my meals. I plan out my fitness. I actually have a routine." And she said, before I go to the restaurant, I'm intentional. I look at the menu. I see what are the healthier food choices. What can I choose off that menu? And she already has a plan in her brain what she's going to order before she gets there. So she said, I'm very intentional. So she lost 45 pounds over about 8 to 9 months. And now she's really focused on fitness, weight training. Oh my goodness, she lifts weights just about every day. She does both combination of aerobic and weight training. She's doing all of that. She's been able to maintain the weight loss. And she told me something here a couple of weeks ago, and she said, for the first time in my life, I am more fit than any of my friends. So she feels great. She has energy. She looks great. She said, yeah, she said, so I'm still a size 14. And I'm still like, people look at me and they say, wow, you're overweight. She said, but I feel great. I'm really happy with how I feel and how I look. So even though she's, like she said, yeah, sure, do I need to lose more weight? Probably would be good, but she feels healthy, and that's what it's all about. Okay, with that, I think I'm just going to end. Do we have time for some questions? We have time for questions.
Okay. So do we have any questions in the audience? And thank you, Joanne, for sharing this.
Yeah.
She had mentioned that she's a pickleball champ. So at her prime age of 40 plus, she's been playing pickleball and she's been physically very active. So I want to be like her when she grows up. So wouldn't you? I mean, look at her all fit and cooking at everything. So I have one question. You mentioned intermittent fasting.
Yeah.
And so you said 6 p.m. is the latest time to ideally. Well, I get hungry about 9. What do you do about that? Do you just ignore them and try to go?
Yes.
It's hard.
It is. You can drink an Axie.
Okay.
Yeah,
Or
drink an
water
Axie.
or anything. No wine. That doesn't
No,
count.
that doesn't count.
No.
No, you can have some. You could have
Or is tea okay?
Tea is fine.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But for the most part, no ice cream.
What if it has no calories?
So actually, you should try. Just see if you can do this for. It's hard in the summertime. I think it's a little harder. Yeah. It's light until 10 o'clock. That's amazing. Arizona, it doesn't stay light like this, and you don't feel like going to bed, and you probably don't eat till 10 o'clock.
Yeah,
in the summertime. But if you can get back to a routine where you're eating your evening meal, at 6, no later than 7, and then if you can delay your breakfast, not eat first thing in the morning, and try to shoot for that 13-hour window. Because that's what the research is showing, and it's not just so much about weight management, which will help with that, with not working with your circadian rhythms, but it's also about your health. Especially when I read that research, that it could actually help prevent the recurrence of cancer. That's a pretty big deal. By just one simple little health benefit, not eating anything, and not forcing your food into your body when your body is shutting down and saying, no, don't feed me. And you're feeding your body, that increases your insulin resistance and all of that goes on biologically. You're kind of messing up your body. So just a simple little thing like that can make a difference. Yeah.
So I have a question then.
Yeah.
If you're going to try not to eat and you're going to intermittent fast, but you leave for work before that time frame, how are some ideas for 25 grams
That's a great
protein
question.
and breakfast?
Okay, great.
So
Yeah.
question here was, what if your work starts earlier, so it kind of interferes with the whole breakfast intake, and so it would shorten your window? How do you?
That's what you do is whip up your whey protein shake. That's 18 grams of protein. Shake it up, or you bring your powder to work with you. The powder comes to your desk, because the physique whey protein shake can mix with water. Or some people like to mix up your smoothie the night before the whey protein shake and throw it in the freezer. And you pull it out in the morning and you take it with it to work, right? And so you get to your desk, you got a break. What you're going to do by then is defrosted, so it's like a slushy, so you can drink it at work. Americans like it cold.
Europeans don't drink it cold.
So I think, I like cheese sticks. I make homemade granola bars. I will supplement my
That's a great
protein.
question. Okay, so what are other good breakfast ideas for people? Because the typical
Protein isn't like a hard-boiled egg.
Eggs,
Yeah.
yes, eggs are one of, next to whey protein, eggs are probably the next one from the biology.
is there a limit on how
high-quality
many
protein.
eggs you can eat?
Yeah.
But you can only utilize how many you said for serving? 30
Each
grams?
egg is 8 grams. So,
Okay, so you could
3
technically
eggs.
have 3 eggs at 1 crack. That's a lot of eggs. So you may want to eat something else. In addition.
So eggs, cheese sticks, peanut butter, all this protein.
Okay.
That you can have in the morning for breakfast.
So this whole lifestyle adjustment takes time and it can be really overwhelming, and from the stress management standpoint, it can actually halt you at any progress.
That's right.
What would be the number one choice, or if you were to choose, you talked about habits, change your habits, change your life. What would be 1 to 2 habits that you would target at first for somebody who's starting out?
Okay, here's something, here's a tip. Number 1 is that you would go to your pantry and you would make sure that your pantry is purged.
Purge your pantry.
Number 1, okay, purge the pantry, get rid of the junk, the processed foods, take them to the food bank or whatever, and make sure your pantry is number 1 stocked with all the healthy, nutritious foods that you know are going to nourish your body. And so you do that first, and then you have, that would be number 1, and then the plan. What's your daily nutrition plan going to look like? And if you don't have a plan, then you plan. How many times have you heard that? You don't have a plan. You don't have a menu plan, and you don't have it figured out, and a plan, you plan. So that's critical. That's critical. When I was working and a busy mom, 4 little kids at home and working full time, and I was really determined to feed my kids healthy foods. I had a menu plan. I always had a menu plan on Sunday nights. I'd go shopping, the menu plan, the kids home with my husband, go shopping, figure out my menu for the week, post it on the refrigerator. And I would have, I would just, I had a plan, feed my family happy.
So
it doesn't happen by accident.
So regardless of being a busy parent, or even if you're not a busy parent, but you're a busy professional, it is critical to have some sort of a meal plan that you work with.
Yeah.
Is what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
To be successful.
Yes.
What happens when you blow it? What do you do then?
When you blow it. So what? Big deal. Start over next game.
Okay. Well, it's important because some people say, you know what, I blow it today. I blew it. So let's have that ice cream that I forgot in the freezer.
It's going to happen. You know, so don't beat yourself up. Just understand that's going to happen. So you get back the next day and you get focused and recommit. This is going to happen in life with anything. You know that. You have your focus. Like I've been really, really focused and intentional on reading scripture, reading my Bible, because I know how much that brings peace and calm in my life. Right? I know that. I know how good that is for me. But since I've been traveling and on the road and all of that, it's been harder for me to have that personal private life. No, not. I know that for me personally, I desire tremendously to get back to that and make sure that that happens in my life. So I know that I will, I work it in when I can. So I'm not going to beat myself up because of my time, that time has been sacrificed too lately. So, you understand that this journey is going to be like anything else in life. You're going to have some ups and downs, right? As long as you are basically moving forward, though, as long as you're further ahead than when you started. It's like my daughter was telling me about how she had this great plan and intention that she was going to lose a 7 pound or 80 pounds. Actually, I think her first goal was 100 pounds, which I didn't think was that. I think I really do well. So I didn't think she had 100 pounds to lose. But anyway, so now that she's really understanding realistically, it gives the kind of the concept kind of figure that it's about more like that. So she's this far and much further ahead than where she is. So I think that's, you have to understand.
Very good question.
Yep, question over here.
I want to say for something also.
The question from a personal trainer.
So I like to work out in the morning. I always heard you should eat before you work out. You shouldn't eat before you work out. What is your thought?
Oh, great question. So Should you or should you not eat before workouts? That's one of the questions that is
I
asked.
think it's actually better to eat after you work out, especially have a whey protein shake, because that's where you're the best time to get those biological amino acids built up. That's where you're going to build the most muscle mass. As you work out, have a whey protein shake to build your muscle mass.
So if I'm understanding you correctly, that shake actually helps to absorb quickly in your.
It absorbs quickly into your system and it goes directly to your muscles and goes muscles.
So it's not about having a steak after workout, but something that is readily.
And if you're going to eat something, you could actually have a whey protein shake before your workout. I know that basically you're kind of breaking your fast, but you're not feeding your body some sugars or carbohydrates to just pure protein.
So technically, it doesn't count as food.
It would count as food, but it would
Okay.
if you're going to do that or eat something before your workout. That's what I would recommend.
Okay. So would you say it depends on the type of physical activities you're planning to do? So if you're planning to do like more strenuous activity, maybe like a marathon or
Oh yes,
a long
definitely.
run.
So if I go walking in the morning, so I get up in the morning, I don't eat before I walk. Sometimes I'll walk an hour to 2 hours.
That is impressive. What's your speed?
Usually I like to do a minimum of an hour, 2 to 3 miles, walk a pretty good speed in the morning. Or if I go play pickleball, I do have a whey protein shake before I go to pickleball because that's very, very intensive exercise. And sometimes it'll be 2 to 3 hours.
So another question, I don't know if it's your area of expertise or fitness trainer, but for somebody trying to lose weight or just kind of get into that ideal state of a happy, healthy body, what would you recommend for physical activity to be? Say, I'm a beginner, I'm not used to moving as much. Could we have a physical trainer just come here? And so what would you recommend?
All right, I would recommend at least 4 to 5 times a week. That's what I'd highly recommend. And doing between weight training and aerobics. I personally combine them both because I just want to get my workouts done and be done with it. So I do like an hour and break it up
Every day? I mean, 5 days.
5 to 6 times a day.
That's a commitment.
It is commitment. Now that I have a kid and a family, it's a little different. So it's harder that way. But
Does it count when you go for a run with the dog?
yes.
Okay. Does it matter how big the dog is?
No. It does not matter. I'm German Shepherd, but I also, my parents have a little, 5 to 6 pounds.
Okay, so some cardio, some weight. Okay.
If you only have like 30 minutes, do one day weight training, the next day
Okay. That's more doable.
That's more doable.
I'm just being realistic. Okay.
Hey, Sonia, I have a question.
Yes, perfect.
Yeah, first of all, good presentation. Learned a lot. A good call out
Thank you.
regarding good call regarding obesity rates and how that impacts COVID deaths. A lot of people don't know that the more obese you are, the higher the probability that you will your health will be greatly impacted if you have COVID-19. That's one of the reasons why United States one of the reasons why the United States leads in as one of the leaders in death regarding that. So our fitness is very important. But I have a couple of questions actually. You guys talked about how that resting state, right? Where you need to rest your body. That's when you're burning more calories. That resting state between 12, I was it 10 to 14 hours, I believe. This is an old debate, but I'm kind of curious to get your take. Is it best to work out in the morning, early morning, or best to work out in the evening before you go to bed? Reason being is that resting state, if you work out in the evening and then you go to bed, you're at that resting state, right? Is the timing of that workout important as far as weight loss is concerned? That's a question number
Come
one.
back here,
Stephanie.
This is kind of unplanned, but it works really well.
I think mornings are a lot better than evenings. Like you said, it's your body's starting to wear down and rest in the evenings, where in the mornings your energy is there,
you're able to do a little bit more body.
You know what I noticed? I noticed that when I work out, I sleep like a rock. I don't need any sleeping pills. I'm like out cold. So myself, sometimes I don't hear my alarm.
Yeah. Me personally, as working out in the morning is the best way to go. If I don't work out in the morning, I'm just not going to work out at all. But you know, you can find fitness trainers and fitness scientists that will debate that question: what the timing of working out, and there's pros and cons each way. But that's a good take. The second one is this: the fasting results that we talked about that were discussed. Do you see the same results in men and women, or
Oh, that's a good question
this
for both of you.
relatively the same?
How is that men versus women?
Yes,
Outcome?
yes, absolutely, yeah. Fasting is beneficial for both men and women. The other thing too is that fasting actually helps to increase a set of genes that are called sirtuins. Probably if you've heard of sirtuins, there's a set of 7 of them. These 7 sirtuins have a whole range of health benefits. Everything from helping to manage your cholesterol, inflammation in your body, and affect mood. There's now there's NAD. Our company has an NAD product, a Protamine NAD, that actually helps to boost up those sirtuins. So a lot of the benefits from fasting relate to modifying gene expression. For example, like activating NERV2. That is another benefit of fasting. Activates that anti-aging pathway called NERV2 pathway. Also increases the set of these sirtuins instead of these 7 genes that are also potent, powerful anti-aging genes as well. So those benefits extend to both men and women. But in fact, some of the research with calorie restriction related to NAD really was, and that's actually what spurred the interest in NAD, was through severe caloric restriction and fasting. That's a whole nother area. I mean, it's beyond this kind of talk here tonight. But there's a lot of benefits of fasting. Like you can fast, like 1 day a week. Some people choose to fast 1 day a week. You just choose a day fast, 24-hour fast. Some people, like I said, will maybe do partial fast, where they're severely restricting their calories to 500 calories 2 days a week and eat pretty much anything they want. I don't want to say just a healthy diet the other 5 days. So there's different concepts and there are different ways of fasting. I happen to really believe that the best one that I believe personally, in my opinion, is the time restricted fasting and fast over. Right? I don't know if I answered your question. Probably answered it too much. Way beyond what you wanted to know, right?
It's all good. Thank you.
Rewind.
So
do we have any more questions? So do men or women benefit more, or what's the result like when they fast? Have you seen maybe bigger impact on men or women? Say like what the Wheight circumference. I feel like guys
sure
drop it faster.
Yeah, I'm not sure that they've done the fasting research really does that much more gender specific. Mm-hmm. It certainly does show benefits for people with diabetes or have insulin resistance. It has a great benefit for that significantly because it lowers the insulin resistance and it lowers insulin levels like fasting. So interesting.
So if somebody is on the intermittent fast, they can work out, right? So it's not really preventing them from.
Yeah, they can work out.
Okay. Any more questions? This is really good. We have a lot of questions.
This question was, how do I not eat extra?
Oh, that's a hard
Yeah, well, see, I asked that. How do you not eat after 6?
I was supposed to stay on the plan all day and then have dinner and that's fine. But something happens right around 8 o'clock until I go to bed.
Yeah.
All I want to do is eat everything.
So the question is, how do I not eat after 6 when I do fine all day, 6 hits, I eat a nice meal, And then something happens between, there's a magical hour, a black window between 6 and 8, and maybe till you go to bed, when odd things happen and odd things are eaten, right? So what
You're
do we
too
do?
close to the refrigerator.
My ability to say no stop, I start crazy things.
The
I can go all
willpower
day
wears
and not
out.
have any crazy.
So one
Easy to
strategy
do.
that I learned that seemed to help people was if you would set a timer, you get the craving that hits, you set a timer for 15 minutes. And see if you can each time, so you start with 10 minutes. And you see if you can say, you don't say no to eating,
You just delay the
you just delay it.
gratification.
You say, okay,
It's like with kids.
this is like just a little strategy, just think about this. Okay, so if I made it to 15, go ahead and have your snack. The next night you try to, and you set the timer for 20. I don't know, give it a try. Some people say that really helps them to cut out that late night eating when they're like, all of a sudden the cravings set and they want to eat. And it's more of a habit. So you can kind of break that habit with that strategy.
I realize it's not hungry.
Right.
It's some
Or
sort
maybe
of
you
weird
can-
mental thing, and
Yeah.
Or
So
find
it's an
something-
emotional eating of sorts when different habits kick in. So we're not eating for hunger, but there are just some things we're filling with that food.
Is there something you can do that would distract you? Is there, is there something you can do? Think about activity, a hobby or something, knitting. I tried knitting. I'm a knitting dropout. I can't sit still long enough.
That's true.
You are working on a computer,
Yeah.
so I have to actively do something.
So you have to actively do something or go to bed earlier? No?
Well, thank you for joining us tonight. We
Thank
enjoyed having
you.
you.
We
Thank you.
appreciate you attending. Thank you for the questions. I will share, because the slides were really hard to see. I will share a separate recording of the slides. So for anybody who's watching it, I will share with you the separate slides by request, because I recognize that this technical part is not 100%. This would be my third career, so maybe we'll try another time. So have a good night.
Thank you. God bless. Take care.
Thank you. How do I stop recording?